With that, we'll do roll call of board members.
Praviti.
Present.
Brown, present. Nicely.
Here.
Chaplin.
Here.
Trustee Mylum.
Here.
Trustee Stevenson.
Here.
Trustee Reinhold.
Here.
Okay, all present. You see before you the agenda, if there's any additions, deletions, or motions. If not, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. You see before you the consent agenda. You're being asked to approve the accounts payable of January 10, 2025, approve the minutes of the Board of Trustee meeting of December 18, 2024, accept the monthly building report of December 2024, accept the Planning Commission meeting minutes of November 14, 2024, accept the Board of Review minutes of December 10, 2024, and accept the Robinson Capital quarterly report of December 24. So that'll be my motion to accept the consent agenda, supported by Stevenson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. We have no moved agenda items. Next is comments from the audience on agenda items. So if you'd like to approach the board on any agenda items, now's your time. Please state your name and address and you have a 3-minute limit. We'll have a portion for non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you. Next is legal counsel. Okay. Next is public hearing. So every January, we host a community development block grant public hearing. So I'd like to make a motion to open up for public hearing.
Support.
Supported by Chaplin. If we could do a roll call on that.
Brown. Yes. Nicely.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
And John, yes. Okay, so if anyone, no, it's okay.
Pardon.
So anyone here from the public, I'm sorry, anyone here that's for the community development block grant, please come to the podium. If you have any literature, you can pass on. Yeah, you're free. Feel free at the podium. You can share your website, phone number, any contact information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I should have had you take the picture. You're the pro. No, you're the pro. Mhm.
Good evening. My name is Ann Nicolazzo, and I serve on the Board of Directors for Maggie's Wigs for Kids of Michigan. Thank you to the Washington Township Board of Trustees for your previous support of our program and the opportunity to present this evening for consideration of the CDBG grant. We are a local grassroots 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides wigs and support services to children ages 3 to 18 at no charge throughout the state of Michigan. Founded in 2003, we have helped over 5,600 Michigan children, and the need is great. We have helped several families in Washington Township community since we started our program 22 years ago. In addition to the wigs, we are also growing our support services to help our kids emotionally, socially, and psychologically. We have had great success with our skin care and makeup classes over the last year and help our children embrace a positive self-image. We've expanded our VR for Kids program, which provides virtual reality headsets to support them with pain management, meditation, and relaxation while their journey through their health challenge. This technology is in place at Stanford and Yale Pediatric Hospitals and started with kids with cancer until we expanded it to children with other forms of hair loss. All of our wig recipients are entitled to these services and more. We're in the progress of building an addition to our wellness center to house more wigs, class supplies, and gifts for welcome bags filled with comfort items given to each child on their visit so we can continue to grow. This evening, we are asking for $1,200 through the CDBG grant to help sponsor a wig for one child and their family in Washington Township. And any amount of funding is appreciated. Roughly 80% of every dollar goes towards our wig recipients. Most importantly, if you know of a child in need of our services, we ask that you please refer them to us. We help everyone, we charge nothing, and we turn no one away. And we can be reached at 586-772-6656 or www.wigsforkids.org. We are also very active on social media. Thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi there. My name is Ajisha Varghese. I'm the Director of Family Advocacy. Excuse me. I'm the Director of Family Advocacy at Care House. We are located in Mount Clemens, and I'd love to tell you more about Care House, and thank you for having me. Care House is the Macomb County Child Advocacy Center with their main office located in Mount Clemens and a satellite office located in Warren. Care House is the only agency in Macomb County who offers comprehensive services for child victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, or whether they've witnessed a violent act. We also offer support services to the non-offending caregiver as well. Our goal is to minimize trauma for the child victim and to provide coping skills, advocacy, and case management for the child and the family. The way we do this is we collaborate with all law enforcement in Macomb County. We work with the prosecutor's office, the FBI, Homeland, if it's needed, as well as medical and mental health professionals as well. Care House offers intervention and support services for child victims and their families, intervening to promote healing and helping families to cope with the emotional stress and trauma that is caused by not only the acts of abuse, but also by the investigative process. Our services include coordination of forensic interviews, crisis counseling, child safety and trauma assessments. We offer support groups for the parents and for the children, trauma-focused therapy sessions, family advocacy, and access to other mental health or other medical examinations if needed. In October of 2022, Care House started the development of our Family Resource Center. The Family Resource Center is a parent-driven, welcoming, and supportive hub for families in our community who are seeking resources. So we're not just working with families that have gone through the investigative process. Now it's really anyone that's needing housing, that's needing extra support in whatever situation that they're going through. Our Family Resource Center offers family pantries, parent leadership development, and mentoring, positive parenting, and child development education. Families are never charged for any of the services that they receive at Care House. We provide services to all referred children and their non-offending family members. I'm also proud to report that according to our most recent independent financial audit, 92 cents of every dollar that comes to Care House is specifically devoted to serving children and families in our community. Since opening our doors in 1996, we have conducted 11,300 child forensic interviews, with 205 of those children residing in Washington Township. Last year, in 2024, we provided 620 forensic interviews, and 12 of those children resided in Washington Township. We are so thankful for your support in the past, and this year we are asking if you would be able to provide $3,000 to support services for 5 Washington Township families. Thank you for your time. Is there anything I can answer for you?
Tough job, and thank you.
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 Good evening, and thank you for your time. My name is Bailey Beam Albrecht. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Education with Turning Point. Turning Point has been providing a safe place for families fleeing violence since 1980. Between July 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024, our emergency shelter program provided 131 bed nights for Washington Township residents, as well as service provision across a variety of other agency programs to Washington Township residents. Turning Point's emergency shelter program is a safe haven for survivors of domestic, sexual violence, and human trafficking. It provides immediate safety, crisis intervention, and resources to families trying to establish basic safety. The project is a multifaceted approach to ending the cycle of violence in families. Turning Point's shelter case managers meet with every new shelter resident within 24 hours of their arrival and develop an individualized plan based on their goals. They work on plans for safety, housing, and financial stability. Depending on the survivor, this plan can include literacy, immigration, credit repair, and supportive counseling for domestic and sexual violence after leaving shelter. The Emergency Shelter Case Management Program has developed collaborations and linkages to multiple systems, organizations, businesses, and churches that can help survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence maintain their safety when leaving shelter. There's strong evidence which indicates that improving survivors' knowledge of and access to community resources leads to higher quality of life and less risk of reabuse over time. Resource building serves as a protective factor that enhances safety over time. Turning Point continues to provide comprehensive services to children while in shelter and after they leave. Children in shelter receive crisis support, tutorial and educational assistance, safety planning, recreation activities 7 days a week, including a day camp that runs all summer. Many children keep in contact with us many months after they leave shelter. A child crisis advocate works with children and teens in shelter and is able to follow them after they leave shelter to continue offering individual and group supportive services. Turning Point's shelter facility is ADA accessible, has increased educational, indoor and outdoor play area for children and teens, private sleeping and bathroom facilities, a multi-purpose room that functions as a dining room and family activity area, private dedicated counseling spaces, and spaces for other nonprofits to be on site to deliver their services. If Turning Point is awarded the $2,000 of CDBG funds requested, Turning Point would be able to provide hotel accommodations to survivors and their families when our shelter beds are not available, receive hygiene kits, food, supplies, and other basic needs. Funds are also provided to survivors and their families to wash clothes and transportation costs while they're in our emergency shelter or our transitional housing program. We appreciate your time and consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you for doing it. Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much.
It says 3,000. Sure. Thank you. Oh, no, it says 2.
Good evening to the Board of Trustees. My name is Scott Andrews, and I'm the Transportation Coordinator for Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. For over 30 years, our organization has been providing free basic assistance to hundreds of frail, older, and physically challenged adults, trying to help them remain safely in their home by utilizing hundreds of volunteers that our organization has. This assistance has been helping older and disabled adults with things such as transportation, chores, respite breaks, errands, and even with loneliness, especially over the last few years. These opportunities provide fulfilling experiences for those who wish to volunteer with our organization, as well as for supporting those who are in need. The CDBG Safe at Home project of Interfaith Volunteers is part of our larger chore and repair program for older and disabled adults. This project was developed to provide additional chore and repair services in the communities that are kind enough to allocate funding for this purpose. Our Safe at Home program allows us to assist low to moderate income seniors and physically challenged adults with indoor and outdoor chores, minor home repairs, and routine housekeeping. Overall, with our organization, we identify those individuals who cannot do these tasks on their own and who honestly have limited resources, and we try to prioritize those who have the greatest need. We are requesting the CDBG funds to increase the number of low-income citizens we can reach to grow our program, as well to coordinate the volunteers who do these services. IVC historically is providing almost 20,000 hours of help covering all of its services for just under 500 people in need each year. Our CDBG funding, we've been able to complete 11 tasks in Washington Township. So the second page I gave you breaks down some numbers. I'm certain Treasurer Nicely would love to see how some of the numbers are done. So as you can see, we do have a request this year for $1,060 in the hopes that next fiscal year we would be able to do 20 projects for Washington Township residents. The most recent year, we received $800 from Washington Township, and in the previous couple of years, we were able to assist 11 residents in Washington Township. But again, our organization is, I don't know if it's bilateral. We have 13 active volunteers that are Washington Township residents that have assisted us in the last year. And in the 30 years of our organization, we've utilized 138 volunteers. We have assisted over the 30 years 78 Washington Township clients and successfully helped 10 different clients last year. So any additional CDBG funding allows us to assist many more residents. We greatly appreciate the past 5 years partnership with you allocating CDBG funds to us. And finally, again, knowing that we're utilizing volunteers to help do little things around the house, examples of the help that we do would be replacing locks, washing windows, raking leaves, installing of smoke detectors, routine housekeeping. And so this sort of funding is what allows us to continue to expand and grow our usage. So thank you to the Board of Trustees very much for your time. Any dollar amount, you have a lot of good groups asking for money. Any dollar amount is greatly appreciated. We hope to continue our partnership. And if anyone here knows of any seniors who might be able to use our services, could use some assistance, or if anyone you know might want to give the gift of time to volunteer, please let us know by calling our office, 586-757-5551. And our website is on the paperwork, but it's ivcinfo.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you so much.
My name is Tony Vogel. Is this on? Okay. I'm here on behalf of the Samaritan House of Washington, and I am a board director. I am on the executive committee, and most importantly, I'm a volunteer. And we're open 3 days a week, and I volunteer all 3 days that we're open, and I've been doing that almost 17 years. So, it's very passionate for me. At Samaritan House, we are not getting any slower. In the last year, we've seen the need in our communities, collective communities, up 30%. Just boom. On average, since I would say August, we've gone from seeing 160 families a month to 250, 260. Even in December, we were only open 3 weeks in December, and we saw 220 families. And of all those families, we served 156 families alone in Washington Township. And we live, I call it we live. We live in Washington Township. Right. And, it's just crazy how busy. It's like we get in the morning, we're like, how are we going to make this work? And it just does. And we're blessed by so many supporters of Washington Township, everyone in our area, because we serve from Elmont to Utica and Shelby Township to Armada and Macomb County. So it's a big footprint, and the beauty of it is Washington Township is the center of it all. And I guess I should read this since Kathy wrote it up for me. It's been very busy. Rising costs of everything, it deeply impacts our low-income clients. Because of the generosity of our community, we're able to continue to meet their needs. This mission takes shape in our work of fighting hunger and building bridges to stability for at-risk families. We've been around, this is our 30th anniversary year, 2025, which is pretty amazing. In preparation for the upcoming hearings, please see attached specifics, which I believe you all have. But we are asking you to grant our request to disperse $9,000 in community development block grant funds to the Samaritan House. We will steward these funds and continue our work of serving your constituents who are at risk of hunger, eviction, and utility shutoffs. I could be up here for 7 hours talking about Samaritan House because that's my livelihood, that's my passion. I talk to people and they're like, what do you do for a living? I said, I volunteer. They said, can you make money at that? I said, no, but that's what I do. It's just, it means a lot to me, and I know all of you are very familiar with us trying to expand our property, but first and foremost, we're taking care of our, the needs of our communities, and we couldn't do it without everyone. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What did they ask?
9.
9,000?
9,000? Thank you.
Anybody else here for the CDBG? If not, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Supported by Dennis. If we could do a roll call.
Nicely.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Brown, yes. Purvidi.
Yep. Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Thank you for coming out.
So yeah, we thank you all. This will now be going to our CDBG committee, and we'll report back February 5th, right? Would you like to say something?
The CDBG committee will make a recommendation to the board for the February 5th meeting, and the deadline to get everything back to the county is February 14th.
It has to be the 5th.
Dana, the money we got from the county this year is basically the same as last year.
It is the same, yes, correct.
So everybody's needs more, and we're not getting more from the county to meet those demands. That's sad.
So is there a budget in Washington Township to add to that or not?
I
Asking
wouldn't
the
be
wrong
able to
person.
answer that.
No, it's something we can't.
We usually, we
discuss.
can't, yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody here could, yeah.
Okay, then we don't have to make any other motion.
No.
We're good. So you're free to stay, and but otherwise, if you'd like to go, you're free to go as well. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
We'll let you know after February 5th. Someone will notify you from the committee.
Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you coming in
Thank you.
person to
Thanks for all you do.
make your
Thank you so
argument.
much.
So we'll go on to unfinished business. 10.1, to approve the final publication and adoption of the food truck ordinance amendment. Did you want to explain, I guess? We're basically there. Or do you want me to explain?
Yeah, this is, as you recall, because you're charter township, a regulatory ordinance like this requires 2 publications. You adopted it originally for first publication. In theory, it gives board members and members of the public an opportunity to review it and come to the board at the second reading, which is tonight. And if there's no revisions to it, then they would make a motion to adopt the ordinance for final publication. There's a notice of adoption that will be published in the newspaper, and then it becomes effective 7 days thereafter.
I'll make a motion to adopt it as written.
Support.
So we have a motion by Mylum, seconded by Stevenson. If no questions on the motion, roll call.
Purvidi.
Yes.
Brown, yes. Chaplin.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
And Chaplin.
Yes again.
Pardon me. Who did I miss nicely? Pardon me. Nicely. Sorry, Mike.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Don't even start.
I thought we had an agreement.
Next is 10.2 to approve the recommendation by Giffords Webster to award the weigh station bid. So, I'll have Mike.
We turned here? Can we do it like this?
Yeah, you can turn.
Is that okay? All right. Excellent. Good evening. In your package, you have a copy of our bid recommendation for the Macomb County Sheriff's Way Station. Reminder that this is located in the vacated portion of Old Van Dyke. As you're driving north, you go through the roundabout, you keep going. Just before you get to the interchange with M53, there's an old piece of road that the Sheriff's Department wishes to use as a mobile way station. They will have trucks that they have pulled over from Wayne, drive to that location where that'll occur all safely away from the main road, and then they'll be on their way. This project was bid out. We received bids last week on January 8th. There were 3 bids in varying costs, as you'll see in the attached. But we are recommending the low bid of to CBX Incorporated in the amount of $41,030. That does include an allowance of $5,000 for permits. We hope that that allowance will be we won't need to use the majority of that for permit fees. The county is a partner on this project. The Department of Roads is as well, so I don't expect that that will be used up. And then there is some time and material budgets for our work on construction administration and potential construction staking. There is some new signs that have to go in, as well as gates and some guardrail that we will help to lay out as the contractor needs. Those are just budgets that we'll charge against only as time is actually used. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mike, is this jurisdiction just for the Washington Township area, or is it for all Macomb County? And if it's not, do you know if any additional revenue from the other areas would be shared on their expenses if they find anything?
I don't want to speak for the Sheriff's Department of how they intend to use it. In the preliminary discussions we had with them, it seemed like it would be for this area, because at some point I think there's diminishing returns to make trucks drive a long distance to a spot like this. I know they have a similar setup in Lennox Township, out in front of the fire station, which, while it's in a bypass lane of the road, it is still on a main road, so this is obviously a much safer spot. So again, I can follow up with them. You know, between Sam and I, we can have a chat with them about what their plans are.
The idea is we get them in and out of the road faster. So in theory, we can generate tickets faster, but obviously safety is the main concern. But
absolutely,
we can get them. Just it wasn't even what was it? It was Monday. They pulled over a trailer. It was 9,000 pounds overweight. Whoa. So they pulled them over at Cold Stone, which technically you shouldn't really be pulling them off on private property. So obviously, if this would have worked, it would have been easier to go there.
And the Department of Roads is working on an agreement that will come to the township to sign off on, essentially about the operation and maintenance of the facility. I don't know if there's going to be any revenue sharing or anything described in that, but that'll describe kind of how that relationship is going to work. Because again, it's in a portion of a right-of-way that they own, but they don't get Act 51 dollars for to maintain. So the long-term maintenance, you know, cutting of the grass and stuff will be worked out between them and the township.
Being Christine's here, this is going to hit the sheriff's budget, but I'll let you know.
Sounds good.
I think the main reason that we're doing this is for the officer's safety.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Get them off the road, because it wasn't that long ago, a state trooper got killed on the road doing the same exact job.
Yeah.
And these tickets do pay very well, anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 up to $15,000 on these big, large trucks. So I think our return on that shouldn't take long to come back to us. And I think it's a good idea, and I know our top bidder was $90,000 to do this project, so it's a lot cheaper than the $90,000. So I'd like to make the motion to award the Macomb County Sheriff's Way Station project to CBX Incorporated in the amount of $41,030, with a $5,000 to be managed by the Water and Sewer Committee throughout the project, and also approve the construction engineering services by Giffords Webster's for this project for a total time and material budget not to exceed $6,000.
Support.
So we have a motion by Stevenson, seconded by Mylum. If no questions, roll call.
Praviti,
Yes.
Brown, yes. Chaplin.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Nicely.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, motion posted. Thank you. Next is 10.3. It's that time of the year, that time of the contract, I should say. 3 years ago, we got a bid from, 3 years ago, we awarded the contract to Priority for a single waste hauler. That contract's coming up the end of this year. There is a provision in the contract for a 3-year extension. But before we make a decision, I'd like to recommend what we did 3 years ago was to form a single waste hauler committee made up of the 3 full-time officials of myself, Mike Nicely, and Audrey Brown.
Is that a motion?
And then we'd come back the next meeting, February 5th. So,
Was that a motion?
yeah, so that'll be my motion.
Support.
More to the motion. We're going to amend the ordinance.
Well, we're going to investigate, yeah. Part of this is also, we want to look at the amendments also with Bob to see if they need to be updated or modified, and that's another process.
To amend ordinance
We'll look.
139.
We'll see, yeah.
As well.
But we'll be coming back February 5th to give you an update on that, the bid, and where we stand.
Okay.
So that's basically all. I just need a motion. Oh, I guess I'll make the motion to form the committee, I guess.
Support.
Okay.
Support from everybody.
Supported by Chaplin. If no questions, then roll call.
Brown. Yes. Previti.
Yes.
Nicely.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. We'll go into new business. So tonight we've been having the Planning Commission going through reviewing all the text amendments and ordinances. So tonight, in your package, you'll see about approving and adopting zoning text amendments of ordinance number 138. And Dana's here too, if you want to explain that.
Yes, thank you. In summary, basically what this, the request to approve this amendment includes specific regulations and requirements for non-residential condominiums, adding definitions of housing for the elderly, senior citizen housing, sports court, and third-party delivery services, provide setback requirements for sports courts, set forth provisions regarding loading and unloading areas relative to third-party delivery services, and then repealing any ordinances that are in conflict with the ones that we're proposing. So we are going through our zoning ordinance, and there are a lot of updates, so you'll be seeing more and more amendments come before you. We're trying to group them together so that, obviously, to save costs, but to focus on the things that are more time-sensitive or, just in need of being updated.
What triggered you guys to start looking at updating them? Was it the growth, or was it just complaints, or is it just trying to stay in line with what's going on?
Kind of all of the above, yes.
OCD mostly, but
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
We appreciate your OCD.
yeah.
So
I'm glad you do.
that's what we're calling it. It's organizational is awesome.
Yes.
We had a discussion at the PC the other night on a whole bunch more that are coming. But yeah, there are a lot of old and outdated things that are just, it's housekeeping stuff that kind of falls through the cracks over the years. And as time changes, you need to update.
All right, John, you're in the planning commission, you make the motion.
All right. Let's see. I move that we adopt the zoning text amendments of ordinance number 138 as written.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chaplin, seconded by Stevenson. If any questions on the motion, otherwise, roll call.
Brown. Yes. Previti.
Yes.
Nicely.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
No, I dare.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 11.2, approve appointment to the Planning Commission. Tonight, I'd like to present Lisa Hall. I'd like to present her to be appointed to the Planning Commission for the upcoming 3-year term. As you see in the board packet, Lisa Hall is a lifelong resident of the Washington and Romeo area, brings a wealth of education and experience in planning and zoning. Her qualifications include a master's in public administration and bachelor's in public administration and policy, associate's degree in business administration, extensive experience in planning and zoning with a certificate as a planning and zoning administrator, and a citizen planner for MSU's Land Policy Institute. She also has membership in the American Planning Association and ongoing studies to become an AICP certified. So obviously I go on and on. Lisa really ran the show in Wright Township. She worked here for a while in Washington, and now she works in the city of Baltimore doing planning and zoning as well there and building department. So she's actually here if anyone wants to meet her. But that's my recommendation to the board for approval. That's my
I make a
motion.
motion.
So you move, you
Go ahead.
support.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the appointment of Lisa Hall to the Planning Commission.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
I just don't know if she's qualified, though, man.
Sounds like a women thing here. Where is it?
I've never seen a more qualified
I
person.
think she's overqualified. No, I'm sorry.
That's great. Congratulations.
No, thank you. Well, we'll make it
Yeah,
official. So we have a motion by Brown, seconded by Mylum. If no questions, roll call.
Nicely.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Praviti.
Yes.
Mylum.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Reinhold.
Yes.
Okay, motion.
Congratulations.
Now congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Working with her when she was here in the township, she'll do a great job. So glad to see her back, Lisa.
Welcome aboard,
Thank you.
again, and still.
You must know her, right? Yeah, you do. So
Okay, next item, this one's kind of an unusual item. I've been approached throughout the month of December by, they're called Interstate Capital. They're really interested in this property that the township owns, the 33.08 acres roughly. They're not here. Yeah, they're not here. So they're not even here. To be frank with the board and the public, I'm not very interested in selling this property. Me personally, we don't know what their intentions are, what they plan to develop, but this is a very valuable piece of the township property. And if we do consider to sell it, I would recommend putting this out for appraisal before we do put it out to bid. I did send this over to legal counsel to review, and there's a lot of red flags in the contract. I do plan to bring this up during our budget workshops about this property, but I don't know if, Bob, did you want to say anything about it or not? I don't know.
It's really up to the board. Sam had sent me a copy of this agreement back on January 8th. I reviewed it. I sent Sam an email. There were some issues that I thought were significant. That you know, for instance, it's a better part of a $3 million purchase, and there were a number of contingencies in the agreement. One of the first concerns was that the earnest money that they were going to put up amounted to 0.5% of the purchase price, which on a $3 million deal, putting up $15,000 is woefully inadequate, in my view, to show a good faith offer that, you know, you've got the cash to do this. Second of all, it's contingent upon the township completing a number of events within 120 days after this purchase agreement is signed. One of them would be that all township approvals for the project would have to be completed for the intended use, but the agreement is silent on what the intended use is. It's presumably some sort of industrial, but we don't know what it is. The likelihood of having township reviews done, which would include site plan review, engineering review in 120 days, is impossible. That's not going to happen. It's also contingent on the township providing tax abatement, which means you'd have to create an industrial development district under Act 198. That requires a public hearing to create the district. Once the district is created, they want to build a speculative building, and what that means is, under the Act, you can build a building for which you have no tenant in an industrial development district with the hopes that you then turn it around and market it to a tenant, saying to the tenant, we have a building here that's already ready to go. It is in an industrial development district, and you may be able to ask the township for tax abatement up to 12 years. All of that would have to be done within 120 days, yet they don't indicate what the purpose of the building is or the nature of the building. So and there's a due diligence period in the agreement which they can extend with a $50,000 non-renewable deposit, but then they don't indicate whether, I shouldn't say non-renewable, non-refundable deposit, but they don't indicate whether or not we retain that money or not. If you got to the point where you were prepared to sell the property, no pride in authorship, but I would prefer that I draft this agreement. This agreement is not, for $3 million, is not the kind of agreement that I would recommend that you sign, and I'll draft the agreement for you and make sure that you're protected.
What is this property zoned for right now?
We did rezone it. It's called IRT, which is like industrial research technology. So it is commercially and industrially.
Are they asking to rezone it, or?
They didn't get into, we don't know. Normally, when someone approaches the board per se, they usually sign like a confidentiality. They tell us who the end user is, so we can make a decision on it, but they're keeping that proprietary too, so we don't know what they want to build, who's coming in,
And it's not been appraised?
and technically it hasn't been appraised. We're guessing it's worth about 100 to 125. That's just, again, a hunch, we don't know. Going back in the past, the property around it was sold by the prior administration, but I believe it was sold at a cheaper rate because that person turned around and sold it for like 4 times the amount. So I don't want to do the same mistake here with this administration.
Well, this agreement is bad also, right?
Yeah, the agreement's not bad, and, I mean, the agreement's not, there's a lot of red flags in it. I presented at last year's budget, but I'm going to present at this year's budget. This area, we were kind of thinking of developing it into more of like a little industrial court with smaller parcels, and we would actually get more money for the smaller parcels, and it's more attractive because people are looking for smaller parcels, not big parcels. But again, if this guy would approach the board and say, hey, Ford Motor Company wants to build batteries over here, at least we can make a decision on it, but we don't know who the end user is. And again, we sold all the land around it, and the land's been sitting there now for several years with no movement on it either. So,
Yeah, so based on this, they could buy the property and sit on it for a decade and not develop anything. And doesn't really help the township out much.
and again, for the amount of excitement that this guy presented, he's not even here tonight, so I don't know.
Okay.
I personally am against it. I'm not trying to sway the vote, but.
No, looking at your memo, though, I would like to make a motion to reject the offer as it stands.
I mean,
Support.
For the parcel known as 24-04-11-400-030.
That's exactly what I stated.
You got a support on that one?
I support.
Okay.
Yes.
okay. I mean, legally, I'm obligated to bring any type of proposal to the board, but again, during our budget process in the next few weeks, we don't only just own this property, we own several properties. I'd like to review all of them and get all your input on it.
Are you still interested in getting appraisals on these properties, or do you want to wait on that till you have infrastructure committee meetings?
I guess we'll talk about it during budget workshop, but I kind of wanted to see like if we develop that to the smaller parcels to make it more attractable, but either way, we would have to get an appraisal.
Well, did you want permission to move forward on an appraisal now, or do we want?
I don't know if we should wait to see.
We can wait.
How
I
we
mean,
section it.
It's not.
Yeah, you may want the appraisal to be done closer in time to when you're interested in selling.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to get an appraisal done now and then put it up on the market 2 years from now.
Well, it sounds like they're putting a lot of conditions on the township, but they're not telling us what, we're not giving them any conditions
One
at
other
all.
minor item that I forgot to mention was that there is a commission in this agreement that they expect the township to pay.
Really?
Really. There is a provision in the agreement which provides that if the township were to accept this agreement, the township would pay a 6% commission to Kalamazoo Commercial Realty. 6% of this purchase price is $178,000 and some change. So you've got an unknown buyer unilaterally submitting an offer to purchase, no end user, no use proposed, all of the contingencies, and by the way, they want you to pay $178,000 commission.
But if there's only one realtor involved, shouldn't it only be 3%?
How about the fact we
There
didn't
should be,
even have it for sale?
there should be no percent.
Right. At the worst case scenario, it should only be 3.
And it was
But-
not for sale, correct?
No,
We didn't put it up for
marketed.
sale.
I mean,
So,
Is this the same piece of property, Bob, that he came before us before?
At
He wanted to buy,
pre-planning.
and if he hired 100 people,
Bob
we gave him the
wasn't here.
property free?
Well, Bob wasn't here, it was
Yeah.
at the pre-planning, but yeah.
Yeah, this is the same gentleman. He came into the pre-planning meeting, and he didn't make an offer, but he had proposed, some sort of agreement where he would put $10,000 down on this 33 acres and then develop it over the course of a certain amount of time. And if he developed, sunk, say, 25 million into development and created another 150 or 200 jobs on top of that, whatever his number was, that we would forgive the balance. So he would have the property for $10,000. So,
That's a deal.
Yeah.
yeah.
well, he's probably got
So
one of
I
those in
apologize, I
every
didn't bring them.
municipality, right? Just throw them all out there.
I don't
It
think
would
this
stick.
is a serious offer. I think we should turn it down.
We did. Or it's-
Just did.
Well, we had a motion.
All
we
right.
had a motion, I don't think we voted yet.
So this, and we have a few other properties, but I always bring it up every year at the budget, so you guys will get knowledge of all of it.
That's
But we do have a motion, so,
Who made the motion?
sorry.
I made the
John
motion.
Kaplan.
And Dennis?
Second?
Or Reinhold? So motion by
Chaplain.
Chaplin, seconded by Reinhold. Roll call.
Previti,
Yes to decline.
Nicely.
Yes, to decline as well.
Brown, yes, decline as well. Chaplin,
Yes.
Mylum,
Yes to decline.
Reinhold,
Yes, decline.
and Stevenson.
Yes to decline.
Motion passed. I'll notify the offer that we voted it down. Now, it's agenda item number 12, comments from the audience on non-agenda items. So anyone from the audience that would like to address the board, please feel free to come to the podium. You have 3 minutes. State your name and address. We're just looking at all. No, I'm joking. Hearing none, I'll close the public comment. Next is elected officials update, community announcements. The big thing I guess I would like to announce, I've set up our annual survey that last year was the first year we did it electronically, so this is the second year. We've already surpassed the numbers from last year. Last year we hit about 560 responses, and we're in the 600s, so the deadline's February 15th, so you have a month still. So I'm hoping to pass 1,000, hopefully a lot more than that, but the more the better. It would also be interesting, I'll be presenting this to the board then, but to look at the comparison from last year to this year to see if anything's changed. To find the website, it's very long, but if you go to our township website, you can find it there. And we also have flyers in the lobby with the QR code. You can scan it and find it as well. Monday's Martin Luther King, so the township will be closed in observance of Martin Luther King. What else do we have coming up?
I just
I'm
got
trying to
one.
think of it.
I'm sorry? I just have one. The week of February 30th is firefighters appreciation week, so we have a great crew of fire people here. So if you get an opportunity to see a fire person, EMS or paramedic, fire personnel, please make sure we thank them, especially during this firefighter appreciation week, starting February 30th and ending, starting January 30th. and ending- Starting January 30th and ending February 2nd.
Okay.
And that's
got it.
before the next board meeting, so it's an opportunity to say thanks to our fine crew out there.
That's great.
Good job, Mr. Nicely, because that's so important.
Yep.
And I've been getting a lot of criticism that all we do is love on our fire department. Well, I guess they feel a little different this week when they see the news.
Right.
And they look at the fact that we have a lot of areas in our township that do not have proper water supply, and we're working on that. And Chief Tyrell's doing a great job in making sure that we are always up to the minute on the latest things that we can do. So I'm excited. I'm so thankful you brought that up. Thank you.
As Jim Holcomb mentioned earlier, February 23rd, it's a Sunday from 12 to 4 is the open house at the Greater Washington Historical Museum. No, the 23rd, it's a Sunday.
Okay.
And it's an open house. We kind of have a cherry theme for George Washington chopping down the cherry tree. So come on down.
Are you dressing up?
We have Bob Siebert, a special guest, bringing cherries.
Washington.
And we have the cutout of George Washington, so you can come and take pictures with George, too. We do a contest with the Washington Elementary School, which is next door, so the students actually come on that Wednesday, the 26th. We have a pizza party for them, but on the 23rd, we display all the artwork, and then the 26th, we kind of we pick the winner of the 3 classes, but then after that, I actually display them here in our lobby for a few weeks. The kids come in and take pictures and stuff, so everyone's welcome to stop in. Everyone kind of forgets we have a museum here, so it's kind of nice if you guys would like to stop in and see it. I'll be sending out meeting notices for a budget workshop. I'm tidying up the budgets right now, so hopefully within the next week I'll be sending out some meeting notices on that.
All the dates on this will be in a newsletter from you, I would assume.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The taxes are due end of February or middle February?
February 28th. Please make sure you get them in. We're asking everybody to make sure you drop them in the mail before February the 14th, so you can avoid any type of mail delays. There was a recent article on I think Channel 4 News, where some mail is not being delivered, not in Washington, but in other parts of the southeastern Michigan. So please make sure you get the checks into the mail before February the 14th, in case so we don't have any delays with the mail at that portion of it.
And just, I guess, as a board update, so I've been meeting with Sergeant Petrowski as our command officer. He began January 1st. Since then, the big traffic thing, which I'm hearing on the community survey as well, but which is not a secret, is Van Dyke and all around the schools. So we do have meetings set up with each of the schools. We're trying to find ways to better bank in the cars. We've come up with solutions that are obviously cost-effective and others that would be big costs. But so I'm hoping in the morning and at 3:50 over here, Washington Elementary causes a big backup on traffic. And then Indian Hills also doesn't have a big backing of, I call it the banking of the cars, but which causes a big delay on 29 Mile Road. And 29 Mile Road over the last 5 years has shifted dynamics with the high school now being on 29. We have Havel Elementary, we have Indian Hills, so 29 miles picked up a lot more traffic and concerns there. So, and it is interesting. I'm hearing a lot more of all the these, like I said, like this one truck that was pulled over that was 9,000 pounds overweight. So I mean, it's just you don't believe the stories that we're hearing. But they've also pulled over truck drivers that were wanted in other states. So they get pulled over for mud flaps, but they end up getting wanted in other states. So you think you're doing one thing, but you're actually finding a bigger problem. So it's worked out good. Last meeting, we had the residents that live in the sub behind us that the car went off the road. I've reached out to MDOT. We're finally locking down a couple dates that MDOT will come in and talk to them. We don't know what can be accomplished, but at least we're getting this meeting set up for the residents. So I just got the email now. So hopefully we can. We don't know what can be done because it's not township property. It's MDOT property going up to personal property. So, but at least we can get this conversation going. And
Right, and we've
Audra's
also,
been talking about
I've also been dealing with helping the residents, and the young man who went airborne going 100 miles an hour into their backyards and did a lot of damage to the yards. Luckily, none of their kids was outside, but that young man has an informal hearing on January 24th at the 42-1 District Court on Powell Road at 9 a.m. So the residents are going to show up there for the informal hearing. I'm going to be there. Maybe some members of the board are also going to attend. It's important that they are there and they're bringing pictures so that the magistrate will see the actual damage that was done. It could have been much worse. There are 9 children who live in those 4 houses, and they play in those connected yards all the time. And had they been outside, it could have been an absolute disaster. He was given a careless driving ticket. Some say that it possibly could have been reckless driving. he landed in a tree and he did a lot of damage to the yards. But there is some hope that the magistrate could rule after the young man has a hearing with Judge Andary, that it could be ruled to go to a formal hearing. And in that case, the township attorney would prosecute that case. We don't know. That's a long shot. But the way they stand right now is he is having a hearing, and we've worked with MDOT, but they're with MDOT. They've been very responsive. They've done a study on the road, looking at the traffic patterns in the last 5 years, because they were wondering if they should possibly add friction to the road or additional signage or what have you. There haven't been that many high-speed accidents of that sort in that area, like 3 in the last 5 years. And MDOT also has what they call a clear zone. This is an area where they are responsible to make improvements to the road if it is within the clear zone. These homes are really near the expressway, but they're beyond the clear zone. So if they wanted to construct any type of barrier, barricade, wall, whatever, it wouldn't be MDOT's responsibility. And of course, the families have asked, well, can the township, build a structure? And there's just a lot of people whose yards back up to the expressway, and you can't build a wall for everyone, although that would be nice. But so they are looking at other issues with that. But they're really concerned about having this young man do really understand how serious this is. He could have killed a lot of people, and he also had a previous ticket for speeding, going 125 miles an hour in West Bloomfield, not too long before this happened on December 4th, and he was still driving. And when his father came to pick him up, the 17-year-old, the father said to Deputy Zeffie, well, boys will be boys. That was his response. So there needs to be some accountability with this family. So that's kind of where we stand right now. We're all doing our best to help the family, and we're so happy that nobody was killed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Does this boy live in this area or West Bloomfield? And here it seems like pretty far.
I don't know where he's from. I don't know where he's from. I don't. But he was airborne going over 100 miles an hour. But he had done that previously.
It seems like he's going all over trying to
drag
Well,
racing.
that's why he goes so
racing.
fast, right?
Oh, yeah,
He's got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I know.
I was just curious where he's from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that.
Hopefully it doesn't come back.
Yeah. So.
We have no correspondence. So with that, I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded by Stevenson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Otherwise, have a good night. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Very much.